teacher as well. I mean, they learned everything they needed to know about Bo. And he was a stern teacher. Remember he got angry at him when they first picked up the guerrillas? When they were leaving that? And they jumped in and told him how to do the job?
Right.
Yeah, he wasn't putting out, he was annoyed. Ron was like, come on, guys. You're making me look, didn't he say you're making me look bad in front of the freedom fighters?
Right, yeah, he did say something like that.
Would you, oh man, so it's like, do you think he knows what he's doing? Do you think he's kind of like a guardian angel type guy where he comes in and makes their life better and everyone just sort of thinks, oh, hey, maybe he's like, okay, we had a theory about Pauly Shore in Encino Man, which is a podcast that has been released, where Pauly Shore in Encino Man, he just gets someone different every year. So like Steve Cruiser, Sean Astin, and he makes them better. And then he brings them into his engineering school. And then he finds another project that makes them better by playing the Weasel character. Do you think Captain Ron does that?
I don't think Ron does that.
Oh, okay.
And I wouldn't like that because when Pauly Shore does it, he doesn't do it through necessarily acting like something he isn't. Whereas if if Ron is doing it, he's doing it by acting disingenuously.
Oh, so he's there we go.
Because if Ron was doing it, it would have meant that almost all of his personality was a ruse.
Oh yeah, that'd be bad. I wouldn't. Then yeah, never mind. Ditch that idea.
But you brought up like his teaching, and it's funny. I don't think that he's a good teacher. I think that he's just so relatable that people pick up what he's saying. When he gives, because it really was kind of interesting how at first in the movie when he's like, giving some little quizzes about what's this, what's that, he pops out of the cabin. He's like, hey Kitty, what's that you're holding right there? And she says, I don't know, like mizzen shaft or something. He's like, ha, good job, but it seems so trivially random that it couldn't possibly matter. And then later in the film, he's walking the family around and he's pointing, like he's touching it, and then they're all saying together what it is. But it's like, that may not have a good practical use, but then later when he gets them all doing something together, they're not doing it seamlessly. It's not like this magical transformation, but they're getting through it and they're smiling because they're doing something they've never done before. It's like when you're holding the back of a kid's bicycle seat while he's trying to ride without training wheels for the first time. You're really keeping him up, but he is doing a lot of it. And it was very gratifying. And even when he had to be like, no, guys, hold on. And he came in and he's like, no, you're doing this all wrong. And then you think he's fixing it. But then he's like, okay, yeah, that's right. Now guide it up. And then he lets them do it again. And it all felt really good. Like that it felt very real to me. It felt very warm to me when they were getting those sails up. Even though he had to help them a lot, it's like, well, it's not like the first time we see him do it, they're going to kick ass at it.
Yeah. I guess they did good enough, and then he jumped in there and helped them out.
But yeah, just in the way that they were like, the way they look at each other, like when he corrects them, they're a little frazzled in the moment. But as they're doing it, they're kind of, it's that half smile of like, yeah, I'm doing this. Like, I don't know. It felt really good. That for me was like one of the happiest, warm, fuzzy moments of the whole film. It really sticks with me.
So we have the happiest, warm moment, and then I want to talk about the weirdest moment when they arrive for Carnival, right. Martin and Kitty show up on the boat, and on this boat is a Speedo-wearing Ron, a shirtless bird eagle tattooed, fake tattooed, the kid, Ben, with an eye patch and a beer.
A beer.
And then there is a woman, a prostitute on the boat that, remember she's not a Cretan boss, she's Puerto Rican. And then so, what's Ron's thought process to have it get down to what they're doing here?
I suspect that he brought a prostitute knowingly to the boat. And I think that when the kids ended up, maybe he had them all come back to the boat for a reason, for kind of safety. But I think that he was skipping off, and maybe, Ben saw him and he's like, oh, I don't want to leave Ben unattended or something, or I don't want to let him feel unincluded. So then it just turned into, well, let's play Monopoly, and then it turned into Strip Monopoly.
Yeah, because they ran out of money, and she was working assistant boss. I was going to figure her out.
That is funny though. So he's paying for her time either way, but then apparently when she's up in Strip Monopoly, they have to pay her what she's hustling out of him, and apparently that was the point of contention, not the money that he owed in general for getting a prostitute.
Yeah, it was $500, right, that they owed.
Dude, like that just seems like dangerous water altogether, though. You're playing with an outsider.
Yeah.
Well, he knew her though.
I do love this line, though, when he comes on the boat and he says the Cretan, she's Puerto Rican, but she goes, who is this guy? I don't like him a lot.
That's right. I don't like him a lot.
I like that line. Yeah, and then, I'm not gonna pay. And then they get their boat robbed. Because then they fired Ron.
And she's just whispering to that goon. Like, yeah. It's so forecast that something bad is gonna happen.
Wait, maybe they were scouting the boat and they sent her there and Ron's just a nice guy. No, Ron likes to have some fun. Clarice, her. So I'm not gonna say he's a total innocent in all of this. But they could have been scouting the boat. The pirates.
They could have. Well, I think he was soliciting a prostitute, and maybe he just solicited the wrong prostitute, and she just let him know.
I love these Touchstone movies that Disney made back in the day.
This was a Disney movie?
Yeah, well, Touchstone, that's like a branch of theirs. So type in Touchstone Wikipedia, and you'll just see a lot of their movies in the 90s that were like this.
This has nudity in it.
Yeah.
It's very brief, but like you see you see Mary Kay.
Yep. Place.
What's her name's like I actually stopped and rewound it twice because I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't see nudity. And so I rewound, but I wasn't rewinding it to see nudity. I was rewinding it to confirm that there clearly wasn't, because this movie can't have nudity. I've seen this movie like 20 times. I have no recollection of nudity. And then I'm like, wait a minute, was that, now I'm watching on a 75-inch TV. I'm like, that's a nipple. Yeah, and then I rewind it. I'm like, I just saw that nipple 3 times, very briefly each time, right? But I did. I just saw that nipple 3 times. I see nudity in this movie, and I was shocked.
I would be annoyed, I think, if I was a parent going to watch a Touchstone movie that was obviously advertised as a family-friendly movie. And we're going to get our PG-13 rating here, but there's a line where Kurt Russell goes, we're going to fucking die. And then you're always saying tough shit. There's nudity in it. There's sexual things. There's a bunch of situations like that. So, I mean, this is a very weird hybrid family / not family movie, right?
Well, and he's even saying, I come here every now and then. She wants my manhood, boss. There's a hooker in the cabin hustling their son out of Monopoly money. Like, it's a lot of weird. They don't outwardly say all this stuff, but a lot of weird stuff is happening. The parents went to jail.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Because they were pirates shooting at their boat. And the daughter is holding the little boy's head down to make sure he doesn't get shot.
Yeah, the pirates are unloading automatic weapons on them.
That was like a turret gun thing, man. That was serious.
And those bullets don't really do much damage.
No, they don't. I was surprised that didn't become an issue when they're talking about like selling the boat, or at the end they're like, oh, maybe we don't sell the boat. I'm like, well, you got like 60 bullet holes in it, so I don't think it'll sell well.
So I know that Ron, at the end, he pretends to break his leg so that the family can work together as a team and save the day. But if the Coast Guard hadn't come, they all would have died. So was Ron right in letting them do that? Or are there times and places for letting a family become close again when they might very well die?
I think that in the moment he was lying because he was a coward.
Oh, you think so?
I do. In the moment, I think he was being a coward because if he was really doing it on purpose, no matter what, that's going to come out. No matter what, that's going to come out at some point. You're going to be on that boat for like another 2 days.
So you think Ron did that, acted helpless because he was afraid?
I think he was scared and he was in a real dire situation. I think he wanted to stay safe. And then once they were gone and he had a moment, I think that's when he's like, well, shit, now I'm going to do everything I can to call for help and do my part to try and save us.
Well, this is controversial.
It felt to me like he was being a coward.
See, I thought he was just saying, I'm going to let the family do this on their own, so then they won't need me anymore.
That seems like a really big risk in this situation.
Yeah, that's why I was, yeah. So I just can't think of old Ron as a chicken.
See, it's not that I think that you're wrong.
Well, it's opinion, right?
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, when I watched it, like, it was never even a thought. Like, it just felt like he was being a coward.
That's funny. You and I had completely different reactions to this scene. Yeah, but we both thought he was lecherous.
It converged to the same thought process later in the scene, but in the beginning, I was reacting very differently.
Interesting. All right, so Hey, we have some questions. Do you want to tackle these questions while we're talking about Ron?
Let's see what we got.
All right. So Megan asks, if they remade Captain Ron, who should star in it, or should it just be Russell again? Yes, it should be Kurt Russell again. He should be still captaining boats, which is totally fine. I mean, you can be a captain on that. But right? You can't bring another. I think Chris Pine. Could Chris Pine be a good Captain Ron?
Wow, that's an interesting choice. I kind of like where you're going with it, though.
I think Chris Pine could do it. The only person that comes in my brain right now that I think would be really funny is Chris Pine as a Captain Ron.
Oh my God. You know who I could see doing it because of acting chops, even though he doesn't do these kind of roles much? Why can't I think of his name?
Michael Shannon?
Oh, no,
Tom Hardy. Oh, Tom Hardy? Tom Hardy is Captain Ron?
Tom Hardy, no joke.
Oh my gosh. So I would love Chris Pine, Tom Hardy, or Michael Shannon. I think Kevin Hart would be a good Martin Short. Just as like a straight character.
Yep, I like that. And especially for little freakouts. He just can't go full Kevin Hart because then it turns into a Kevin Hart freaking out movie. He has to only go 60% Kevin Hart.
Kind of what he does in Central Intelligence with The Rock.
Yeah, more like that. Yeah. Let The Rock carry most of the humor.
I mean, I guess I don't know. I don't know if The Rock could be a good Captain Ron, but I think I want Chris Pine or Tom Hardy.
I like those picks.
All right, that's fun. That's a really good one.
I like those picks, but I'd be upset if they were remaking it.
Oh yeah, they shouldn't do it. I mean, they're not going to do it anyway, but.
You see, I wasn't upset when I heard they were going to be, whether it's remaking or continuing, but, essentially remaking Big Trouble in Little China. That didn't upset me. I just knew I couldn't love it as much as the original. I was bothered, but I'm still interested to see what they do. Whereas Captain Ron, I can't even imagine. It's not even who are you going to have do it? It's no one else can do it in my head almost.
Yeah. No one. Because, I don't know, he nailed the character. They don't really need to do it again.
I feel also now with bigger budgets, they would probably overdo certain things like the pirate assault on the ship, and it would be too much for what they're going for. I don't know. Then again, I like what they did with Baywatch. If the guys behind the Baywatch movie were doing it, I'd be more on board.
Let's do it. Bring it in.
Because I'm the guy. I know a lot of people aren't fond of it, but I love the Baywatch movie. I love it. But I used to watch the show a lot, and that movie is for people to laugh at because they know the show.
Got it.
In my opinion.
Well, I mean, if this cast happens, I'd watch it.
I mean, if we're doing the casting, I'm going to like it more.
Well, here's the news. The good thing is I think more people would get eyes on Captain Ron if they remade it. People would be like, what's Captain Ron? And then more people would watch it. But
it would get the cult status it deserves.
That's right. Another question from Chris is, he wrote, can we get a sequel, please? Now, you and I don't have the power, John. So if we do recommend it and we do get associate producer credits, what could the sequel be?
I mean, there's what it would probably be that it shouldn't be, and then there's what I'd like it to be. And what I'd like it to be is something that I still wouldn't think was awesome. But it's just here we are later, it's the next adventure of Captain Ron.
And he's 27 years down the line, so we don't want him to be the same character. Maybe he has a family?
Yeah, the difficulty I have with it is that Kurt Russell has such a bias towards serious roles in this part of his life. I mean, even Mr. Nobody is someone who puts people in dire situations.
Yeah.
Whereas back then he had Tango and Cash, he had Jack Burton, he had Overboard and Used Cars. Back then, leading up to then, he had done a lot of these roles where it fit. Whereas the last 15 years, he hasn't done much ha-ha stuff. I feel like it would be challenging to today's audiences to see Kurt Russell reprise the role, even though it wouldn't be challenging for us to see it.
Maybe he has a family, and he's kind of given up being a captain, and then Chris Pine shows up as Captain Hank.
Captain Hank.
I don't know. I can't think of a sequel. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'd be down. Now, we have two random questions here for you, John.
Okay.
All right. So, I'd like a count on how many times I'd like a count on how many times the eye patch changes eyes. And this is from David Cross. So how many times? I think the eye patch only crosses once, and that's when he's sleeping.
And when he asked this question, before I rewatched the movie, I was like, oh my God, that's a great question. And then as I'm watching, it really was just when he napped.
Yeah, I was kind of, I, for some reason, thought it happened a lot more. But
Yeah, you know what's funny? If you really think about it, though, if it swapped more, it would have